5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
RS Retrograde-transmission 1. The Septillion year Blindspot. Year 2. It was a deep quantum hum. Slow, ancient. Like the universe itself breathing. Then, a creak. Long and deliberate. The box opening for the first time in years. What you're about to hear now is a transmission from a USS Paradox, registry NCC Retro, and the motto, the future's behind us now. This is not fiction, the history is real, the science is real, the Rolling Stone magazines are real, and the mathematics will make you question everything you thought you understood about time, progress, and the spectacular human capacity for looking directly at the truth and ordering another drink. And turn on some porn. Only the ship is imaginary. Everything else, we wish we could say the same. The ship systems was humming to life. A record dropping on the turntable. Then silence. Captain's log. Stardate 2026-0402. The captain stood at the center of a bridge, hands clasped behind his back, staring at the box. It sat on the navigation table, exactly where they'd left it. Nobody had touched it during the long hiatus. Number 1, she stood to the left, spine straight, arms folded, watching the captain with a particular patience of someone who has calculated all possible outcomes and finds most of them unsurprising. Peter was already circling the table like a moth around a flame, unable to help himself, fingers twitching. The captain spoke without turning. "We have opened the box," he said. He let those 4 words sit there. Heavy, final, almost like a verdict. So for you joining us for the first time in this story, the box is the last artifact from Earth. And it contains Rolling Stone magazines. Every issue a wormhole coordinate for the captain and his crew. Every issue. Every cover a crime scene photograph from decades when humanity knew exactly, oh yes you did, when humanity knew exactly what was coming, and you motherfuckers looked the other way anyway. In today's coordinate, June 1994, issue 678. Captain paused, looked at Peter. Peter, tell them what you found. Peter looked up from a table. He had the expression of a man who had just read his own autopsy report and found it technically impressive. He straightened slowly, arranged the magazines in front of him with the careful reverence of a priest almost, handling sacred texts, and cleared his throat twice. Number one watched him without blinking. June 1994. Peter was reading. Same month, Steve Jobs tells Rolling Stone he wants the internet in his den. The whole civilization is vibrating. You can feel it in every page. Peter was looking up. The digital future is arriving. The information superhighway. The connected world. Everything is possible, and everyone knows it. And in that same beautiful, chaotic cargo shorts and dial-up summer, he held up a single sheet of paper. His hand was trembling slightly. What's that? Listen, a mathematician named Peter Schor, working quietly at AT&T Bell Labs in New Jersey, published an algorithm. An algorithm. Not a product. No, an algorithm. Not an app. An algorithm. And that's a sequence of mathematical logic so precise and so devastating that it describes, in theory, how a quantum computer could crack every password, every bank vault, every encrypted government secret on the planet. And here's what you need to understand. Peter set the paper down. He looked directly forward. And when he spoke again, his voice was quieter. And this was the part that kept him up at night. All modern encryption relies on one assumption, that factoring enormous numbers into their prime components is effectively impossible for any computer. The math is brutal. The math is really brutal. The time required grows exponentially with the size of the numbers. For the largest encryption keys we use today, the ones protecting your bank, your government, your private messages, the most powerful classical supercomputer on Earth will need... He stopped. He took a breath. The Earth would need what, Peter? 10 septillion years. 10 septillion, he read. The universe, my friends, is 13.8 billion years old. 10 septillion, boys and girls. 10 septillion makes that look like a Tuesday morning coffee break. Schor proved a quantum computer could do the same calculation in minutes. The warning was transmitted June 1994. Reception by civilization approximately 0. as usual. Reaction 0. Number 1 moved for the first time. One slow step forward. When number 1 spoke, it was the voice of someone reading a damage report from a war that hadn't happened yet. To understand why nobody listened, she said, you need to understand what June 1994 felt like from the inside. Forrest Gump was in cinemas. The World Cup was being played on American soil, and O.J. Simpson was about to make a Los Angeles highway famous for entirely different reasons. Kurt Cobain, he was 3 months gone, and the grief was still raw and real. And the internet, this magnificent, terrifying, world-altering network, was arriving in suburban living rooms for the first time. The very first time. People were getting the first email addresses, feeling the first electricity of connection. It felt like the future had finally shown up at the door. The humans were not ignoring Schor's algorithm out of stupidity. They were ignoring it out of bandwidth. They were drunk on one future and could not see the foundation underneath it cracking. That is the signature of a bad simulation pocket. That's when we lost the captain, created the hiatus. It was horrible. Tell me about it. The captain was looking down the floor on the bridge. It was indeed a signature of a bad simulation pocket. Not malice, total distraction. The captain turned from the window. When he spoke now, it was slower, each sentence placed like a stone. Here is what I want on the record. Here is the RS retrograde testament, so the period. In June 1994, humanity was handed 2 keys, and they got them simultaneously. Same month, same civilization, same species. Key 1, well, that was the internet, the global conversation, the infinite library, the greatest communication tool in human history. It sounded so fucking good. And key 2, Schor's algorithm, the mathematical proof that quantum mechanics could shatter the entire security architecture of everything Key 1 was about to become. And we took Key 1. He walked slowly across the bridge. We built Amazon. We built Facebook. We built YouTube. We built Instagram. And we built, actually, TikTok. And the dopamine machine the size of a planet. And we called it progress. And we were not entirely wrong to do so. Key 2, we put in a drawer, filed under theoretical physics, check back later. It is now later, the captain said, and stopped. It is now later. IBM demonstrated a 4158 qubit quantum processor in March 2026. 4158 qubit quantum processor. March 2026. Google's Willow chip performs in 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, boys and girls and readers and listeners. 5 minutes would take a classical computer 10 septillion years. Governments are scrambling right now, today, this week, to replace every encryption standard before the machines get powerful enough to run Schor's algorithm at full scale. The National Institute of Standards has already made post-quantum cryptography mandatory for all federal systems. 32 years. 32 years. I understand why you have a hard time sleeping, Peter, the captain said. 32 years between the warning and the scramble. This is not a story about technology. The captain looked up. This is a story about attention, about what a civilization chooses to see and what it chooses not to see, and who pays the price for that choice. Number one turned, and for the first time in the entire transmission something shifted in that voice, something almost human. The simulation is not broken, Captain. It is not. The simulation is not broken. It is working exactly as designed. It shows us what we need to see, Captain, precisely when it is almost too late to act. That is not a glitch. That is the architecture. The question has never been whether we knew. Never. The question has always been what we choose to do with knowing. There was a long silence. The quantum hum returns. Underneath it, a clock. Ticking. The captain stood at the box. Looked down at the magazines inside. 30 years of covers, 30 years of faces and headlines and stories from a world that kept almost getting it right. A world that kept almost getting it right. Close the log, Captain said. Set the course for 2026. We have 32 years of receipts to file and not a septillion years to waste. Peter, my friend, guard those magazines, the captain said. Peter straightened up. Every issue in that box is a crime scene photograph. Guard them well. And we are the only crew dumb enough or brave enough to keep looking. This is RS Retrograde-transmission 1. captain reached for the log switch, then stopped. Something on Peter's face. "Peter, what is it?" he said. Peter was staring at one of the magazines. His face had gone completely white. He looked up slowly. He was barely whispering. "Captain, there's something written inside the cover of this issue. It's a handwriting. Someone wrote in this magazine before it went into the box." And Captain, he looked up, eyes wide. "The handwriting, Captain, it's yours." The clock stopped. Dead silence on the bridge. And then the quantum hum drops to a frequency so low it almost felt rather than heard. Captain's log closed. They built the highway. They built the highway over the fault line. We are just the ones who read the survey report, aren't we?
And when I realized that, it was really difficult because